thought you were going to say you fight them. You're a bit too big.
Go in there and knock absolute 7 kettles of shit out of someone.
You know how my mind works. How do you know? You're a psychologist.
Don't worry about it.
I've also had like ketchup with sweet corn on my rice.
It's Guinness with him now.
Do you have it with Rabina?
Yeah, but no.
We can't have that. We can't have that.
Well, we are in London. We're at the Nobu Hotel. It's all about Anthony Joshua. It's the first time he's fought in London for, what, 7 years? Is that right?
7 years.
And there's been a bit of a fuss. I mean, you can't see what we're looking at now, but we are the main event of the minute, obviously, aren't we? And it's just press from everywhere. I mean, international press, but absolute who's who of the British press, and not just the boxing press as well.
I think it just puts to bed those rumours about no one's bothered about Anthony Joshua no more. Some media turn out.
It is about him against Franklin, the undercard as well, of course, but the big two, Eddie Hearn, we're going to catch up with him. Joshua, we're going to have a chat with him as well. But Franklin, you heard him speak before in the lead up to this. And what are your thoughts about him now? He's lost a bit of weight.
Jermaine Franklin seems super confident. I think there seems so much more self-belief than when we was here a few months back for Dillian White fight. And physically, there's no denying he looks so much better. So I think obviously he's going to feel a bit better about himself physically. I think he's going to have that belief. Like, he feels hard done by that night with Dillian White, and in a lot of people's opinion, rightly so. So he's going to go in there Saturday night believing, and his coach has been very vocal again in the build-up. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, of course, there's been some heavyweight disappointment of late. There is no Fury Usyk that we can talk about. So is AJ going to put a smile on our faces? Well, let's go and find out. Good to see you with a big smile on your face, Jermaine. You're back in the UK, you're back in London. We saw you against Dillian White, of course, we know all about that. But what is it about these US American heavyweights that are coming to the UK all the time these days? That never used to happen. It seems to be that, you know, the UK's bossing it now in terms of the big guys.
I mean, UK's had a reign on the sport for a while, so, you know, it's only right that we come over here and try to take it back. You know, as an American, we trying to take it back. But I don't have no problem with traveling and fighting. I honestly think boxing used to be a little more global back in the day, so it'd be nice to bring that back. I see they be fighting in Saudi and stuff, in Dubai and stuff a little bit, but, you know, I think it's good to keep boxing moving around. And, you know, I'm starting to build a fan base over here, so I'd love to come over. I'll bring some Americans over here to fight them, just because I like how you guys fans and stuff are over here, so, you know.
Jermaine,
he likes the tea as well.
He does. Yeah. He loves a good British tea, good English tea. But Jermaine, first thing that's noticeable of you, we was here when you fought Dillian White. Physically, you look so much better. What's that down to? Is it mainly diet? Is it staying in the gym? And is that giving you more confidence going into Saturday night?
I always got huge confidence in myself, so, you know, confidence never been a problem. But I'm just in better physical shape. I had more time to prepare, more time to sharpen my tools, get myself together. You know, my coaches just pushed me to the limits.
You feel much better at this weight?
Yeah, I feel good all the time. But, you know, I just changed my health around. Started living a healthier life. I've been on a little health journey, so it just has me feeling great all around.
Interesting to see that Anthony Joshua said that he'll retire if you beat him, and I think you've said, well, that's a little bit disrespectful to me because I'm better than that. Does he not realise how good you are? Is that the way you feel?
Mean, I don't know if he made the statement in that perception, or he was just saying like because he lost 3 fights in a row that he might be done. But, you know, I do kind of take that disrespectful. You know, a couple journalists asked me like, if I beat him, do I think his career is over? You know, that's kind of like saying that I'm not a good enough fighter to beat him, and that if I beat him, that he shouldn't box no more. So I do kind of take that as a sign of disrespect.
If you would have got the decision, Jermaine, against Dillian White, like a lot of people thought you could have done, do you believe that would even be a question?
No, I don't think people would be saying that.
Yeah.
What does this then do? Okay, you're super confident. We've seen that. You're deadly serious. You know, you're obviously smaller dimensions, but you could use that to your
advantage. Yeah,
exactly. So what does that do? You do this to AJ in front of a London crowd. He's not been at the O2 Arena for 7 years. where are you then on the map? Because we've seen the disappointment of the Fury Usyk. Everyone's still, a little bit upset about that. What happens then?
I'm on the top then. I'm a top 5, top 10 heavyweight in the world. You
How
know,
are the negotiations? Are they going to be all right then? You'll fight anybody.
I mean,
70-30, whatever it is.
long as we can come to negotiations on the right deal, you know, I'm not ducking nobody. I think boxing needs to get back exciting, back how it was when big fights was made. You know, I'm still waiting on the Terrence Crawford Earl Spence fight. If I was rich enough, I'd pay them so they can fight. That's how bad I want to see
I
it.
thought you were going to say you fight them. You're a bit too big.
Jermaine, finally from me, you come through on Saturday night, you shock a lot of people. You pick one guy to get in the ring with. Is it Tyson Fury or Usyk?
Well, both of them, either one. Either or. Yeah, like I said, I want to stay at the top and keep fighting the top.
Okay.
Can I just slightly off field on this, but with the US heavyweight situation now and the fact that it isn't as strong, I mean, obviously Deontay, we know all about Deontay recently, and we know going back in the day, but has there been more pull for young athletes to go into NFL, NBA, and now boxing isn't as attractive anymore? Is that a fair comment, or is that not the situation?
It's really on an amateur level. Boxing used to be taken more serious on an amateur level, but they keep changing the rules and changing divisions, and you know, it kind of makes it harder for the kids. So like, when I was an amateur, we had like set weight divisions. Now they got something that's like 2 or 3 weight divisions and it's mixed together, and that's unfair to have. What parent is gonna let their kid that's 178 pounds go fight somebody that's fucking 230, 238? That is so unfair on a major level. So I just feel like we need to correct it on the amateur level and keep trying to introduce the sport to kids. You know, I think it's something great to get involved with. It got a lot of help factors. It can help with attitudes. You know, a disciplinary tool. You know, it could give inner city kids a different look on life and let them see the world a little bit. So you know, I think it's great for the kids, but they just got to be introduced back to the sports. You know, basketball and football are always around. That's something that's like always there. So you know, it's a ton of basketball camps, it's a ton of football camps. The schools promote it. You know, boxing you kind of have to seek out for yourself.
Well, it's a bit of an Anthony Joshua special in London. I think next time, Eddie, invite some press.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
Maybe
no one's
he's not
interested anymore, apparently.
And that's the point, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a homecoming. You mentioned that in the press conference, and you can see there is a special fuss around AJ, isn't it? I mean, it's not gone anywhere. I think it's a couple of defeats hasn't changed that kind of feel. Is that the way you see it?
No, I mean, it's a smaller fight than he's been involved with in the past, of course. But I made a comment earlier to the media. I think people watching on Saturday night at the O2 or on the Zone will be more nervous about this fight than any fight he's ever been involved with. I will be, because it's a lot of the unknowns. You know, where's he at physically, mentally? You know, how robust is he? How's his chin? How gun ho can he be of letting his hands go like that? I don't know. I mean, everything that we see, great. Desire, ambition, great new trainer, fittest he's ever been in his career. But it just comes down to that moment, and there's a huge amount of pressure. You know, he can say, it's just another fight. I'm sorry, this is on one hand, it's like you knock him out, you look good, you're going to fight Fury. The other hand, if you don't look good or you lose, your career's over.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like 7 years since he's boxed at the O2, and 7 years since he's boxed without a world championship belt.
A lot of good memories for him, though. That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
Where he used to knock people out.
You know, a lot of people, fighters, don't really acknowledge that. No, it's just another fight, it's just another venue. But I know the night he made his debut, he'll be in the same changing room. The night he won the world heavyweight title, same changing room. It's just a familiarity. Yeah, and I want him to be buzzing on Saturday. Because I think what happened in his career is he fell out of love a little bit with boxing, and I want him to just get on this run, the momentum. And he made a good point up there, which was about the belts. Like, you see it now. It stalls your career sometimes. Like, you've got this mandatory, like Usyk's got 3 mandatories now. So now he's got to go through that process. The undisputed fight fell past. Usyk last boxed in August. He's not going to fight till June, July. And the last time he boxed before that was September the year before. He's going to box twice in 2 years. You know, with no belts, you can just get active, and that's what I want him to do. I want him to get active, enjoy it again, and go in there and knock absolute 7 kettles of shit out of someone.
Do you feel, you mentioned then about the pressure that's going to be on AJ, and we've heard him mention retirement if he loses. There's no denying there's huge pressure on him. Do you think there's a lot of unfair criticism on the opponent, Jermaine Franklin? Because a lot of people last time thought he could have got the decision against Dillian.
Also, I think AJ would have been entitled to have an easier fight.
Yeah.
Like back-to-back Usyk fights.
Yes.
But people, it's a bit like why we chose Andy Ruiz and not Trevor Bryan.
Yes.
Because he'd sold out Madison Square Garden. I just think people wanted a good fight, and maybe it was a mistake, but at the same time, he's never really had those gimmies, pure gimmies. This ain't a gimme by any stretch of the imagination.
If this was another heavyweight, they'd be getting off of it, wouldn't
yeah,
they?
but I'll tell you what as well. I mean, look, I'll give you an example. Everyone says to me, name who could it be? I go, Zhilei Zhang. Everyone goes, what a joke. What a joke opponent. He's 44. He drew against, can't even remember his name, good fight against Ergovic, but he's shot to pieces, he has. What's a joke? Fights Joe Joyce, best heavyweight fight of the year, apparently. Do you know what I mean? So it's always different for AJ. I don't rate Anthony Joshua. Really? Well, and also, Jermaine Franklin got robbed against Dillian White.
Yes.
But it's a mismatch, is it?
Well,
I mean, so one guy just beat Dillian White in your view, but it's a mismatch against a guy you don't rate.
Yes.
Like, it's all bollocks. Ultimately, it's a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
And if AJ allows him to get comfortable, it's going to be a long night and a frustrating night. And I don't want the frustration to creep in. Because if AJ gets through 7-8 rounds, it's not really going his way. Starts getting frustrated, starts trying to force it, starts making mistakes. He does, and he needs to hit him early. And I said to him in Dallas, you do realise that when you let your hands go, you put the fear of Christ into people. I've never seen hand speed like it, or combination punching, from any heavyweight in this era. Let your hands go.
But do you not think on a more important level as well for the heavyweights? You mentioned Joe Joyce, that's one thing, but all the talk's been about the obvious big two, Fury and Usyk. I mean, for the good of the heavyweight division.
We need AJ.
Yeah, but I think, do you not think as well the UK public will be like a bit up again about the heavyweights? If he comes through in spectacular fashion, then the calls are, all right, well, if the Usyk thing for whatever reason, as depressing as that is, doesn't happen, right, it's got to be Fury.
The whole UK, if he goes in there and puts a good performance together, the whole of the UK will say, Fury AJ now. Yes. There's no excuses. There's no mandatories. There's nothing. And but he's got to produce that kind of performance. Yeah, a win, a labouring win, I take it, but it's not what we're after.
No.
Just away from Saturday night a second, I know it's what you're probably fed up with talking about, but there's a lot of talk of Conor Ben, Chris Eubank Jr. Is the rumours about Abu Dhabi later in the year, the talks ongoing? Are talks ongoing?
Yeah, they are. Conor will fight in June. June 3rd is the date that we're looking at with Abu Dhabi. Chris Eubank is the fight I want to make.
Yes.
Everyone wants to fight Conor right now. Manny Pacquiao's on every hour. Conor Kell was in the office yesterday.
I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, he wants to fight bad. And I like the Chris Eubank fight because he's got nasty now, and it's like those two are DMing each other every day. It's like I know the build-up will be unreal, and there's unfinished business. So we'll see. It's not done. It's not imminent, but there are negotiations ongoing for that fight.
What happens though on that one if the British board obviously say to Eubank, you can't go, your trainers are blah blah blah, license holders? Where do you stand on? I mean, can you fill us in on what you think would happen with any of that?
Up to him. I mean, the board are wild at the moment, and Robert Smith. I've never seen the board react to an incident like this, anything like it, going on, giving interviews, almost pushing propaganda. They now want to have jurisdiction outside of their territory, which is, and if Chris Eubank doesn't get permission to box from the British Boxing Board of Control, he would have the option to fight under another licence if he wanted to make an absolute fortune for that fight. I think the board have to be very careful. I think they're at fault at a number of points in this incident, and I think everybody is, in all honesty. But when I talk about we need to bring these two people together, I keep saying everyone's got to drop the ego. I look at what Conor Ben's saying. I know that he cannot have a balanced approach to that situation at the moment. I look at the board's actions. There is no way Conor Ben will get a fair hearing at the moment from the British Boxing Board of Control. They've already made their mind up by the decisions they're trying to make now. So it's wild, and I don't know what's going to happen. But good news, you'll be able to watch it all unfold on a screen very soon.
But on that, I mean, you don't have any problem with that, with the situation, because people are going to keep, I mean, obviously there's always these questions about morally right, ethically right.
But let me tell you about morally right and ethically right. When you believe someone, that's the only moral that I need, right? I believe Conor Ben. He's been in a situation where it's coming up to a year since the test. He's been through absolute hell. He's got himself gone through the WBC process, who are in charge of the testing. They've reinstated him in the rankings. He's ready to fight. Now, I accept if the British Boxing Board of Control don't want to let him fight in this country, unfortunately, until they get together, that's how it's going to be. I want them to get together. I want him to fight in this country. Conor Benn, I believe in Conor Benn. I believe he should resume his career, and we will be making sure that happens in June.
Obviously, Eddie, that would be under a different licence. Would a similar situation happen where, do you remember David A. Chisora, I think it's under a Luxembourg licence, the old card had to be under that licence? Is that what I've dropped out there?
Yeah, but the similarities are so different.
Yeah.
One was in Britain.
Yes.
Yeah?
West
One
Ham.
is international with another jurisdiction from that country.
Yes.
What we're not doing is, which we could have done on that night, is bring in another commission under the jurisdiction of the British Boxing Board of Control in their territory and try to create an event. We're just going to any country to stage an event. Conor Benn can fight in every single country in the world under a reputable commission. So it's not like, we're not looking to bring Luxembourg in and fight in the UK. I would never do that. We could have done that for Eubank Ben. One. The first fight. So all it is we go through the process. He applies for a license, Conor Benn. I believe it will be granted, whether that's America, whether that's Australia, whether that's Middle East, wherever it is, and he's allowed to fight.
Yes.
Now, where he can't fight at the moment, he's in the UK.
Very final one, because you mentioned Kell Brook, and we were talking before, your mate Liam Smith. What's happening with Kell? Because if he doesn't get Ben, and everyone wants Ben, what are you going to do with him? Because
I think he wants the biggest fight. I mean, look, he acknowledges that the Liam Smith fight is a great fight. It's just probably not as big as, in terms of the money that he would like at this stage. I don't think he's just going to come back.
But you've said something nice to him, because he said that's all he wanted to hear. So,
Kell?
Yeah. So what was that? What was it?
I don't remember what part of it. Probably saying about a few million. I don't know.
Okay. Back in London, obviously, we know about the while you've been out of the O2, but you are back. But there's something about you. You seem very, very relaxed, and I'm just wondering, mentally, is it that you've had the blips with Usyk? We know this.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of a weight lifted off you in some way that you're back here and you're slightly under that level you were, if you like, because there's no belts on the line.
True.
It's just a case of getting in there and having a fight. As simple as that sounds.
You know what's interesting is that even though that championship belt's not there, the same protocol needs to happen in terms of the way I approach it, because, lesser fighters have beat better fighters before, if we're going to keep it real. And I'm not saying he's a lesser fighter, but I'm going to hold myself in high esteem. He's come in game.
Yeah.
He's focused. He holds himself in high esteem. So imagine I'm thinking that he's down here, but he holds himself up here. And because it's not a championship fight, I'm not giving it the respect and attention it deserves. I can't kind of think like that. I've got to take it seriously. But I'm relaxed in a way because I know all I can do is my best. I know, secondly, I trust in my coach and I trust in the process. And thirdly, I'm here now. I'm like a couple of days away, so I'm not going to put any more pressure on me because there's nothing I can do about the date. It's coming, it's Saturday, so let me just enjoy these final days that are coming up to it.
But it's kind of like you can kind of save the heavyweight UK division now at the minute with everything that's gone on. You put in that performance. Well, that's what the public want to see, though, isn't it? I mean, you put in one of the old AJ performations with all the disappointment. Well, with the disappointment of Fury Usyk not happening. Is that? Do you not see that though? Is that not the way? Surely you're thinking about these things.
Yeah, you know how my mind works. How do you know? You're a psychologist.
Don't worry about it.
So, yeah, of course. Like as you said, the way the heavyweight division's going, if it's funny how it works. Like Saturday's round the corner. Why go out there? Pow, 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 pow. Look at $1 million.
He's $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million crawler. I'm the next one in line. That's how it goes, right? Perception. I need to create the right environment, create the right perception to be saying that he's the next one in line. Get him fighting the next thing. They ain't gonna fight. You know how the game goes. Yeah. So there is that on the line.
And we spoke to Eddie, and he was saying the same. We think it's crazy, some of the criticism that the opponent, Jermaine Franklin, had, because we heard you earlier saying a lot of people thought he beat Dillian White. It could have easily gone his way.
Yeah.
I know you're focused only on yourself, but do you believe there's a lot of other heavyweights who this opponent wouldn't even be questioned if it wasn't Anthony Joshua? Do you believe because it's Anthony Joshua that this opponent's getting questioned because we're so used to seeing you in the blockbusters?
True.
Yeah.
But that's why it's not a blockbuster.
Yeah.
It'll be wrong of
fight.
It's a bit, but it'll be wrong of me to try and make it a pay-per-view. It'll be wrong of me to try and take it to Wembley. So we understand in terms of the fight it is, but for me, aside from like the promotional side as a fighter,
Yeah.
this is a top guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all I've got to focus on.
If he would have got the decision that night, which he easily could have done, this would not even be questioned.
Truth.
Yeah.
But I said it's funny how things work out because I think he put up such a good performance. I've come off 2 back-to-back defeats, so I think it's a good fight for me to kind of test myself, not to kind of get back into the running of things because I'll say I've won it already. No, I've got a lot of work to do before I win, but to kind of test my new training style, my new like mindset out and all that stuff. It's a good fight for that.
What's it like with the training situation? Because I think 3 trainers and 3 fights basically that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual, isn't it? And you were so long obviously with Rob McCracken and everything else.
Yes.
How do you process the information that you're taking on, the new information every time?
Well, in a good way, because of like the height I have, you could obviously see that I'm like gonna take the traditional style of boxing, which is like balance, work behind your lead hand, move this, that. So no one's gonna tell me to start rolling under punches and come in like Tyson. So in terms of training with different trainers, there's not too much that there would change in terms of the approach, but the only difference is I would say, which I've got here, is like the knowledge. From each person has their different philosophy, and they've learned it from the master knowledge over there. They have different philosophies, and I think that's what's been. It's not been challenging listening because I respect each coach, but it's been challenging getting to this position where I'm comfortable and I'm fully trusting in what's being said, and I trust what I'm being told. I'm fully like. Maybe there's times when your coach might say, don't put your hand here, and you're thinking, if I'm putting my hand there, if I don't put it, there's certain things that people tell you in boxing that you're like, nah, like that's nonsense. But I feel I rate Derek James highly.
Derek, we heard you mention before where come through Saturday night, you'd love to be out again in July. Eddie mentioned it as well. He just wants to see you active again.
Agreed.
How important is that to you? Because I always say this, and this is the big thing for me with Anthony Joshua. Is it, and people are saying I'm crazy for saying it,
Go on.
you could argue you're still inexperienced for the amount of amateur fights and professional fights you've had. It's just because it happened so quick. You just want activity.
This is what we're saying. Go on. Sorry.
No, before the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we're saying about Lawrence Okoli. Like, he's champion.
Yeah.
But he probably had about 25 amateur fights and he's had
Crazy.
19
Similar
pro
stories.
fights.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, like, he's still learning. Even though he's defending his title, you can see he's still trying to practice things.
Yeah.
Which is, for me now, I just got to be like, seeing that from others, how do I take, like, their experience and make it my own? I'm going in there with pure confidence. Because I know the work I've done. Yeah. And that's the approach I have to take. Yes, of course, I wish I would have started when I was younger and had more fights, but the reality is that didn't happen.
You had to be moved fast.
But it's given me, it didn't give me a full sense of confidence, because imagine I was moved at a rate where I fought a whole lot of people that weren't at the level that I needed to be tested. Now I get to a certain level where I get tested and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not used to this. This guy, they're better than what I
would. Have you picked up bad habits? And
I might have picked up bad habits. So I'm in a position where, I haven't had that many fights, but the fights I've been in have been tough, challenging. That, number one, I don't shy away from a challenge. Yeah. And number two, I think that it helps me build character, and it showed me the standards of what it takes to be at a top level at boxing, and I think that's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Just final question, just wrap this up now, but I did hear, I think it was with Ade was speaking to you, and he mentioned something about the food you like to eat clean and everything else, but I was really fascinated by the banana and rice.
Yeah. What, plantain or banana?
No, you said banana.
Banana, yeah.
So talk me through, so that, is the rice warm or is the rice cold? So
Rice
it's just
warm.
white rice and banana, fresh banana and white rice?
Yeah. Basically, you can have a like a tomatoey like stew with it if you want,
right, okay.
like a chicken sauce. But
the
like,
serious stuff
it's,
that we
you know
want
what
to
it
get
comes
to the
from.
bottom of,
It's
so,
like I learned that in the Somalian restaurant. I went to a Somalian restaurant. Yeah, they had
this is a camp meal as well. This is it.
You can have it in camp. Yeah. So banana with rice. It sounds crazy. It's banging. I've also had like ketchup with sweet corn on my rice. Have you ever had that? I'm giving away all the secrets. Trust me, banana with rice is good. Yes, but that's like dietary stuff really. But that's not a dietary meal. That's just like something I like. Like people like crazy stuff. What's your little advice?
I don't think. Well, it's Guinness with him now.
Do you have it with Rabina?
Yeah.
No,
We can't have that. We can't have that. No way, we can't have
Don't poison
that.
it. When I was like 17, we used to have it with Rabina going out. Wow, we said back Guinness. Our coach would tell us Guinness was good. I don't mind you drinking Guinness.
It still is. Anyway,
And finally, Anne, we obviously know where you come from with the Olympics. That made you into that household name. Unfortunately, amateur boxing at the Olympics, it's not in a great place at the minute.
Okay.
What's your take on that? Are you like everyone else, just praying it can be resolved? And
Is it not happening at the next Olympics?
Paris is okay with the task force.
Paris is okay, but then am I right in saying LA after that doesn't look great?
The thing is, we understand that a lot of fighters that come through that system go on and give us the entertainment we want as professionals. Yes. So there has to be a bit more, like, in terms of the governing bodies, WBA, WBC, the representatives, I don't know how they can do it, because it happens at the pro level as well, the issues that we face. I don't know how they can solve that issue, but I think that if they get rid of amateur boxing in the Olympics, it will have a definite dent on the professional sport as well. So from a boardroom perspective, I do think that from the professional side, if there's any influence that they could have, I think it's needed, because I'm not saying you need to be an Olympic champion to be a good pro, but Olympic champions tend to make good pros, innit? Yeah, so I don't know. What do you take on it?
I just think I think the sport suffers right from grassroots. I just think
even grassroots as well. That helped me, going to the Olympics, getting funded. The experience is massive.
And I just think then you get far too many young lads and girls turning over professional when they're not just ready yet.
That's what I said. That gave me the experience. I used to get my ass kicked in the amateurs. I was only an amateur for like 3.5 years, but like when I went up to Sheffield, I used to train 3 times a week. Yeah. We trained 4 times in a day.
At Sheffield, it's a big, I
was like, but it showed you the levels, and without that, we might not be here.
Ground you into the fight of that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I think, it will have a massive knock-on effect into the pro ranks for sure. We'll see.
All the best for Saturday, mate.
Thank you, champ.
Appreciate it.
Well, the big press event is over, Anthony, here at the Nobu Hotel, and we did catch up with Eddie Hearn and the 2 main protagonists in the big fight. And firstly, I was really impressed with AJ in terms of how relaxed he is.
Yes.
And that's the first. I mean, we couldn't get away from him. No, he was so chatty. I mean, and he's got all these different commitments and everything else, but he just wanted to chat to you really about everything.
No, he seems in a fantastic place, and there's a side of AJ that I really like, and I think Derek James, you can see he's got so much respect for, and he really feels, just through speaking to him then, that he's took a lot away from his time with Derek James. And I can't wait to see on Saturday night. And listen, I think speaking to Jermaine Franklin,
again,
he seems in a very good place.
Very up
Both
for it.
are really relaxed, and you can see the self-belief in a lot of them. And listen, what I will say about Jermaine Franklin is I think we're going to see, certainly physically, but we're getting a more dangerous Jermaine Franklin than we got last year with Dillian White. That's what I really believe. But I do believe we see a really good performance from AJ.
So what's the prediction then?
The prediction between 4 and 6, Anthony Joshua.
4 and 6, Anthony Joshua. Any major shocks on the undercard?
No, I think I think Amal Williams, Rube Wilson, Ben will be entertaining, but again, it's realistic off recent form. It's hard to look past Amal Williams there. And
Fabio
Wardley gets the job done. I see his improvement all the time, and I think he gets it done inside the first 4.
And we did, of course, catch up with Eddie Hearn, who filled us in with all the latest developments, and it looks like Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. will be heading to Abu Dhabi. It's looking very, very likely as well.
There's a real possibility early June we will see Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. in Abu Dhabi.
So it's been a long, long day, so Anthony stayed out the pub, so that's always a good thing as well. So that's all the events as they've unfolded here in London.